Hey, welcome back. All right, let's start the other round. The quick recap here. There was a lot of stench tokens, or threat tokens, technically. These two in the back have three each. They're getting to the point where they're starting to become deadly, not because of what they can do to you, but because of the stench tokens. So as much as it's nice to, continually knock them out with the rope, we need to do something about it. So that's a priority. These three guys all have two tokens themselves because same reasons, and the two tokens weren't enough to do much damage to the two guys that are there, but they will start to get more. And then of course we need to go into another room, which this round is not the goal, and we need to get the clue token from there. So that's the idea. I think this is going to be a round. We're going to spend the whole round just cleaning up everything on the board, clearing out the dungeon, and then getting the party back together before we move to the next room. I'm even tempted to say we should probably move to this room over here, just to get that corner out of the way, and then we can start moving back towards the center. And then by the time the altar comes out, we'll be close to home. That's the idea. So who should go first? Well, I think we should go first with the guys in the back corner, largely because we want to finish those two nasties off and make sure we have enough, ability to get into the room with the other creatures. So let's look at our altar dice. You can see them on your screen there. We have two of the lightning rings, one dark swirly, and two flames. The dark swirly, of course, works for Rowan if he goes first, and that's actually a really interesting concept. I could have him go first, and then he can plow into the next room and do some stuff. I'm trying to think what's the right course of action. Those two nasties in the corner. One of them is green, the other's yellow. The green one is 3 out of 5. He needs 2 hits to die. So if I activate Rowan, I can use his bury knife. And if you recall from the last turn, I used it. At the bottom here, I can use that dark swirly to deal 1 damage. It has to be within range, and see the range there is just a 1. So that's the reason why I'm mulling over the idea of him going first, so he can get a damage on the green guy. Now, I really wanted him to move into the next room, because I think his rope would come in handy to try to subdue those two guys that are attacking with their green attacks. Those weren't very good for Ulrich. So if I could get Rowan into the next room, they're going to be closer to Rowan. And if they're closer to Rowan, Rowan defends with green dice, and he can easily handle these two guys from a defensive perspective. He might take 1 or 2 damage, but Ulrich, if he didn't have all this armor, he would have been like sitting at 5 or 6 damage from that last round. So the idea there is Rowan gets into the next room. Maybe he can't kill anybody, but he's at least there to absorb the hits. It's not a bad idea. So technically speaking, he can get off a few hits, and then run into the next room. Alright, so how many movement does he need? So if he did 1 movement, he would be in the next room. So that'd be 1 action. Just looking at the cards he has a lot of attack cards. One of them he can play when an enemy moves into space, and it's funny because enemies never move around him. And then he has the Laughlin Hot Pouch, which is still an awesome card. It just costs an action to play. Okay, action 1. we're going to play the Laughlin Hot Pouch on himself. So it could be exhausted with a fire before rolling dice for a test and gain +1 die for that test. So he's going to have that on himself. Next thing he's going to do is, it's not an action, but he's just going to do the exhaust portion of his blade to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. So that's this. And we got the wavy thing that we were really looking for. So we're going to deal 1 damage, and that's going to be to the green guy. So he's up to 4, 1 away from being dead. And then he's going to do another action, his second action, to go 1, 2, 3. So now these 2 guys are in range to attack him. And he has 3 dice to defend against them. But we're not going to be just sitting there on our duff. I'm going to attack them, but I'm trying to figure out what die. Okay, see this one? It's got a range of 5. He can attack with green, and then for the wavy thing at the bottom, each character within range may move 1 space, ignoring trigger effects. I'm going to use that. And I know I keep giving out melody tokens, and I'm like strictly trying to use my dice here. But, okay, so first things first is let's get the attack out of the way, and then everybody can move 1 space. The moving 1 space part is awesome because Ulrich is 1 space away, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the situation, so he's in range. Alright, so there's 1, 2, 3 hits with a potential 4th hit. And this is against the, I mean, it could be against anybody, but we're going to call it the green burner. I'm not going to spend the focus. I'm just going to do the, is it 3 hits? So that causes 2 damage to the burner. I guess it's better than nothing. And the big thing is everybody may move 1 space. So Ulrich gets to move 1 space, and now he's in death dealing range. In fact, he's going to move here, so now he's next to the cage. Huey can move 1 space, so he's in range, although it doesn't matter as much. I'm going to have Rowan move 1 space just because he can. He's in range. And then these 2, the range goes around corners when you're talking about this type of situation. So both of them are going to move up 1 space as well. And in fact, I'm going to make it go diagonal so they're closer to the door. Okay, so I guess I felt like I could have accomplished a whole bunch more, but I did get the Laughlin Hot Pouch out. Oh, I forgot to use it. So when he attacked, we were going to use that. See the exhaust on the bottom? Before rolling for a dice test, gain +1 die. So I know I already rolled, but oh my gosh, we got all those lightning rings. So then I would have gotten an extra die, and there's a crit for 1 hit and 2 more hits. That's actually really good. This guy is at 4 out of 6. Okay. So now let's see what we can do about finishing these guys off. I'm looking at Willow. Willow has several cards that can move somebody 3 spaces and gain a melody token. She's completely out of melody tokens because everybody keeps using, or she dished out so many that there's none left. And I'm trying to figure out, like, does she have another one of those cards that causes the enemies to take damage? Because we put tokens on these enemies. Yeah, she doesn't. And for that reason, I'm not sure she should go next. We need some melody tokens to be spent. So I'm looking at Rowan, like, could he spent some melody tokens? He did have one that lets him move 2 spaces, and then he can discard a focus to gain a supply. That's not very helpful. So why don't we have Hightower go, and then he can, let's see what he can do. Hightower definitely uses those lightning rings for attacking purposes, because the Star of Aluna works with that. And somebody asked, I think it was JB, the Star of Aluna specifically states that if you're rolling for a test, you get to add a crit. Everything in this game is a test. But I can't think of anything that is not. Anything that where you roll dice is a test. So an inflict is a test. It's just that when you do a test, it's not an inflict. I think the rules do talk about that. I don't think I made that up. Let me make sure. Tests. Hero dice are rolled during tests to determine. There are several types of tests. So, like, if you do an inflict, that's a type of a test. That's where so it's very clear in the rulebook. Each of these things is a type of test. Now, so it even says it's important to note that when a game refers to a test, it includes all types of tests unless stated otherwise. If a game effect only applies to a specific type of test, it will refer to that specific type. And then that's where it gets interesting, because sometimes, like, we had this one that gave you an extra blue die if it was an inflict. Well, if you do a blue test, you don't get the blue die. Because, an inflict is a type of test, but a blue test, it was like a resist or whatever. If you have to just do a basic test, it's not an inflict type of test, so therefore you don't get it. So there are times where it backfires, but yes, test is universal. Okay, sorry about that. Just reading some comments while I'm playing here. Let's see. That's right, we're going to do Hightower. Now, Hightower is interesting. He doesn't have any cards in front of him there. We do have a lot of cards here. He's got 2 copies of certain ones. The problem is not a lot of them are attack cards. In fact, none of them are. They're all healing, which is fantastic, because we need to heal sometimes. But in a moment like now, you want to be able to just kill something. So I'm looking to see if there's one where we can heal, but then, maybe enemies around him take damage. Oh, there isn't. Dang it. So that means then his steel mace here of 1 is what's going to be needed to kill these things, and I don't know if he can do it. It's just that this part right here where he uses a diamond, deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. That'll kill either enemy. I think he can kill an enemy all by himself. So now the next question is, he needs to be within 1 space. So we could have Willow move him. Willow does have the ability to inspire him. He can move 3 spaces. He'd gain a melody token, which he can't gain because there aren't any to give him. So we're going to activate Willow first. She's going to do Inspiring Chorus. Choose a hero within range. Move them 3 spaces. There's no melody token to give him. But then for a lightning ring, each hero within range gains 1 armor. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so she's going to choose him. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, so he's within range to attack them. And then anybody within range of her, which is just him and her, they both get an armor token. And there's plenty of those to give out, so we'll give that to him and her. So then her second action is she's going to go into the room. 1, 2. She's next to the cage. And I think we're going to just go backwards 1 to 3. And now what's interesting is if she was closer, she would be able to do another inspiring chorus, but she can't. We have the ability to do a search with her. She would get a extra die. We use this, by the way. There we go. We got ourselves a diamond. Alright, and then for her last action, she'll do a search. She gains +1 die for the test if she has at least 1 melody token. And then we're going to use the fire at the bottom to gain either a supply or a melody token. And we're going to gain a supply. So let's roll that. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And before I fully end her turn, we're going to see if there's any other cards she can just use the exhaust feature for. Maybe do some damage. Alright, her orange ability is only a 2, but she gets +1 die. We've already searched this room once before. And those are crits. Another crit. So this is a focus token. And she's just going to take the focus. Okay, so she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes. There's already 1 search on there, so that cancels 1. We go down to 4. And then this becomes 3. And we get a search token card. And you know what? I just realized we never drew the card for Ulrich. What a goober. Alright, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. So she gets 3 supply. She gets to add to the thing. And then when she spends that fire token, she's going to add yet another supply. Like I said, you never have too many. Okay, so in the last round, Ulrich did a search. And we actually never gave him his search card. So that's what this is. He got a Potion of Fortitude, which helps him with his orange test. And she gets Blinding Powder, which is very, very useful. That is like the rope. It'll stun an enemy. So within range. And it's got a range of 5. And then exhaust before rolling. When your inflict test from an enemy, you can add 1 to your defense value. And that's an exhaust feature. You could hold on to it and get that every time somebody attacks you. Okay, so I'm checking out her exhaust. She can exhaust a water drop to choose a hero within range to gain 2 focus. She's going to do that, and that'll cost her a melody token. And then she's going to exhaust a air symbol to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. In fact, she could have done that back in the other room, but that's okay. So should I re-roll the air symbol on the board or give up a melody token? We'll do the air symbol on the board. Okay, so let's figure out who's getting 2 focus. She can give 2 focus to herself. She's going to actually give 2, to herself. Because she's going to have to pay 2 later. And yeah, we're going to deal a damage to somebody. We got another one of those. So we'll deal a damage to the green guy. To the green grenade thrower. And he's 1 away from dying. Okay. So, this situation in the corner with the priest. How am I getting out of it? Well, the first way I'm getting out of it is I'm going to exhaust my steel mace, and it uses a diamond, and it deals 1 damage to an enemy within range. So we're going to use the diamond. Okay, I'm going to exhaust it, and it's going to automatically kill this green guy. Alright, so that's done. We get a supply. That didn't even cost me an action. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to attack the yellow one with his red mace. He only gets 2 dice, but we're going to use the Star of Aluna which will give him a crit. Okay, so he starts with a crit because of the Star of Luna. There's a crit and there's a regular, so we're going to roll 2 dice for the 2 crits. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. He has 2 armor. He only needed 1 to die. And then he has 1, 2, 3 focus tokens he can get, and he's actually maxed out. So he like completely overkilled on that attack. And yes, he's dead. Now, I guess you could have argued that I didn't need the Star of Luna. Boy, that would be hard to... He wouldn't have had that crit. I'd have to re-roll these 2 dice, because that's what he would have rolled. 1, 2. Either of these would have worked. Technically speaking, you're supposed to roll the dice first, and I've proven twice now that you need to quit doing it before you roll the dice. Because technically speaking, he got enough hits right here, 1, 2, 3, and he still had 2 tokens. He didn't need to use the Star of Luna, so we're going to save it and use it for when somebody else attacks, because he can use it for any character within range. And believe it or not, he actually has 2 more actions left, so he's going to move into the next room. 1, 2, 3. So he's next to all those guys. And let's get a healing card out. We're going to do Divine Protection. Each character within range gains 1 armor and heals 1 damage. And then for the diamond, they're going to gain another armor and heal another damage. So that's what he's going to do. And that'll be his 3rd action. So the range was 4. 1, 2, 3. Everybody's in range, including Huey. So everybody heals 2. Huey's fully healed. Rowan's fully healed. Willow's fully healed. Ulrich is fully healed. The entire party is fully healed. That's how awesome he is. And then everybody gets 2 armor. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And then Scrooge, McDuck, and Mighty Mo. Okay. Now I'm looking to see, he can use a lightning ring for each character within range to heal damage. I don't even need to do that, so that's not important. Okay, his turn's over. Just remember, he can use the Star of Luna even on another player's turn to give them that crit die. And we're definitely going to do it. In fact, we're probably going to do it for Huey. He's going to go next. Huey has an attack of 4 spaces. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Huey can attack that guy, for example. And we're going to go ahead and do that. He gets 2 dice. And we're going to probably use the Star of Luna on this one. Remember, I've already re-rolled the die, or the effect over here. So he rolled a 1. This doesn't count. So yes, the Star of Luna comes in. So now that's 2. And then we'll re-roll this. And that's 3. He did 3 hits. And the guy had 1 armor, so 2 damage comes through. And that was for the red grenade thrower. Probably not doing a good job. I should have probably killed one of them. Whether it's the green one or somebody else. And then I realized I forgot to kill the other creatures. So we killed the other ones in the other room. And we actually get a melody token back because these enemies had melody tokens on them. Sorry folks, just doing some maintenance here. Okay, so now he can spend that water to change 2 altar dice to anything he wants. So what can Ulrich do? He can use the lightning ring to give every hero within range 1 inspiration. But he can also get a crit. It's probably a better use. He can use the fire to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. And he can use a diamond to give somebody an inspiration. Believe it or not, everybody has an inspiration. It's not like the melody tokens where it's important to give them to everybody. Oh, here we go. This is not even an action, folks. I'm not sure how well you can read that, but he's going to test his charisma. And for each success, choose a hero within range to gain an inspiration. That's not the important part. Look at the fire. Each hero within range may discard 1 inspiration to deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy. Now, everybody but Willow is next to somebody. And at the range of 4, Willow is out of range anyways. So we're going to do this. So his purple skill, which is Charisma, is a 2. And I may want to add a crit to this. Nah, I'm okay. I get to roll first anyways, see what happens. There's 2, and then he can use a... Does he want to? No, 2 is fine. 2 is fine, and then he'll take a token, or a focus, I mean. Alright, so he's going to give out 2 inspiration, and the 2 he's going to give to is Hightower and Rowan, who are both next to somebody, right? And then we're going to use the fire here to discard an inspiration to deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy. So we're just going to give those inspiration tokens right back. This green guy was 1 away from death, so he's dead. And Hightower killed him. And then he's going to do 1 damage to the red thrower here, who's up to 3 damage. And we get another supply. We are doing so well. The supply tokens are limited. 4-player games use up a lot of supply tokens, I guess. In a 2-player game, this was never an issue. Alright. Oh, and then, whatchamacallit, Ulrich himself can discard a inspiration, and he will, and he'll do 1 damage to the guy he's next to, the cannibal. And that's his first damage. Okay, so now with that said, we still haven't even spent an action. And the action we're going to do is kill this cannibal. That's what we're going to do. So, he can exhaust a diamond to get an inspiration. So we're going to do that and give an inspiration back to him, because he really does spend them for his abilities. And we got another fire, which isn't the worst thing in the world for him. He can discard an inspiration to change an altar die to any result. Then he can discard another inspiration to attack. And then water drop deals an enemy damage to enemy in range. Yeah, we're just going to do a straight up attack, I think. So the sword of Ulrich von Liechtenstein is here. And he uses the red skill, that's 3 dice. So here you can see it's 1, 2, 3 hits, nothing special. So now we're going to use the crit. Or no, I already did that. We're going to use the crit from his card. But he has to spend an inspiration to do that, which is why we keep giving him inspiration. And so his pendant just added a crit. So that's a 4th hit. And then this is the roll for the crit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1 armor. So he just did 4 damage to the cannibal. That's 5 out of 7. Then we'll use the fire effect at the bottom to deal 1 damage. And the cannibal is 1 away from being dead. He still has 2 actions left. His Valiant Stand is the only thing he has left that can do damage, other than just straight up attacking. Okay, his Light of the Illuminary, which was cast on him a long time ago. This is an ongoing card effect. At the bottom there, we can just exhaust it to gain an inspiration. It costs a fire, so I'm going to do that. Give him one of those inspirations. He actually has 4 inspiration right now, but I never like him to be low. And yes, we have melody tokens and all kinds of stuff to spend, and I've been doing such a good job of managing these dice that I don't need to use them as much. Did I roll the fire? No, I don't think I did. Jesus, we're getting a lot of those. Not that they can't be used, it's just we're getting a lot of them. Okay, so I think, you know what, rather than just spending cards, let's just straight up use his sword. His sword, for a second action, can just finish off this cannibal. We only need 1 more hit. And there you go, there's 3, enough to get through his armor and kill him. So the cannibal is also dead. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, a 7th one would do the job. And cannibal dead, another supply token received. And the board is clearing up quite nicely. We have that 1 guy left with red. He needs 3 more hits. The problem now is Ulrich would love to hit him, but he's 3 spaces away. And Ulrich can't do that. So what he's going to do is he's going to put his Light of the Illuminary on somebody else. And that somebody else is going to now have this, because it's an ongoing effect. And they could discard an inspiration to move 2 spaces sometime and perform an action. And that would be a free action. Or they can discard an inspiration to heal damage or just gain an inspiration. Now, Ulrich, if he moved 2 spaces and did an action, he still wouldn't be able to hurt anybody. So that's the reason why I don't do it. I'm going to give this to Rowan, because Rowan always needs those extra actions, especially with his rope. So he's not necessarily the heaviest damage dealer, but he's very useful in getting in there and causing a ruckus. Alright, so that brings us to the end again. We now have to go through the the threat area, and there's only 1 guy alive, and that's the Raglan Burner that's red that you see on the screen there. And let me find him real quick. I just realized I forgot to do some cleanup. Okay, so he moves 4 spaces and does an inflict 5 green. Now, this situation is a very weird one. Rowan, of course, is the one he's going to attack. He can still move 4 spaces to get away from Rowan, but he's just getting near other people when he does that. I don't know what the rules specify here, but I'm going to assume that he would do a 1, 2, 3, 4, because he's trying to get as far away from everybody while still staying in range to hit his original target. And yes, just because he moves 4 and Ulrich is now the closest, that doesn't mean that he changes his target. Okay, so he's doing an inflict 5. Rowan gets 3 dice. And there's 1, 2, and then a buckle my shoe. He blocked 2 for sure. He has an internal armor of 1, which would block 3. And I'm looking at his focus tokens. He can spend 1 to get 1, and that would block 4. And then he has an armor that would block the 5th. So that's what he's going to do. It wasn't the best of rolls, but it was good enough. So, yeah, 3, 4. Yep, that's right. Okay, so he blocked all 5, and I was trying to see, like, he has that hot pouch that gives him an extra die, but he had already exhausted that. Got to be careful. Don't unexhaust your stuff until the start of your next turn. I was trying to be too efficient there. Okay, quest phase or threat phase is over. Now we go to Gert, and if you recall, we need to resist 3 blue, and that's everybody. So we're going to start with Willow. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to go to Rowan. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then Ulrich. There's 1, 2, and almost 3. He only has 2 of them. He'll take a damage and get a token. That's better for him. And then we have Hightower. 1, 2, 3, already succeeded. Hightower already has 5 tokens. There's no need to keep rolling, even though he crit. So we block all that. And then we draw the Gert card. Each hero must either discard a supply or resist 4. Just like before, 2 of the heroes are going to discard a supply to avoid damage. That would be Ulrich and Hightower, because their green value is just a 1. Willow will take her chances. She has 2 dice. There's a crit. So 1, 2, she'll spend a token to make it 3. She takes 1 damage. And then Rowan. 1, 2, 3. This one's a crit. 4. He blocked it all. Okay, so done and done. Next, we go to the quest portion, and a couple of things. First of all, we got to resolve this part, and just a quick refresher. All that is that, for example, Willow has 2 clues, so she has to give up 2 focus, or do a Magic 3 resist test. She'll give up the 2 focus. Rowan will give up 1 because he's carrying a clue. And that's pretty much it for that. So the last thing we do is we just go along the line. Do we want to spend a focus to change an altar die? The answer is no. And then if there was a wavy, each hero with a focus would suffer a damage, and each enemy would suffer a damage. That's an interesting one. And what I'd be curious about is, could I play a melody token? And I don't think you can. I don't think that's a possibility. Okay. Nobody, nobody, nobody. Somebody is next to the cage. So for the activate there, a hero adjacent may reveal the top card of the threat deck and place it on the top or bottom. Honestly, I don't even care what's on the threat deck, so we're just going to leave it be. And then the swirling mist here is going to be discarded, and basically we get to draw a clue. And the person who draws that clue could be Rowan or Hightower, and we're going to make it Rowan. And we have a broken shard, so we're going to give this to somebody, and I'm going to give it to Hightower since he's the other one adjacent to the... I mean, I'm still struggling with how that rule works, and if I have to, I'm going, or if I can, I'm going to give it to another hero that's at least adjacent to the cage before I start, sending it halfway across the dungeon. Which the Board Game Geek thread thematically talked about how that's possible. Anyways, it is what it is. So we got the broken shard, and like I said, everything's you need to control both halves. So it's coming together. Willow has the map, Rowan has the fabric. Hightower has the shard. So the fabric and the shard each have another half that we need to get. That's 2 more rooms, minimum, just to get those. And then there's a 4th clue that hasn't even been revealed, and that's 2 more rooms. So we got to do 4 more rooms to get all the clues, and lo and behold, there's 4 more feature cards. So, yeah, we have to basically go through in the entire deck in a 4-player. And if you do the math, or if you're just not good at math, just trust me when I say, if you play a 2-player game, it doesn't need to go as deep. I know I mentioned this before, but it's an important point for this particular quest. All right, we're at the end. That was 40 minutes, so I got it down. I think we hit our goal, 40 minutes. If you're playing by yourself and not having to explain things to a camera, I bet you can get that down to 30 or 20. Do I really burn an extra 20 minutes because of the camera? I think I do, actually. Talking and trying to make sense and making sure that I don't forget things, and I don't know. I mean, it's stressful sometimes. I do, like when I play solitaire games, though, I know I'm not interacting with anybody, and a lot of you do interact, but like later, right? You write in the comments. First of all, I do appreciate it because I feel like I'm playing the game with somebody, and that's the whole reason I say thank you for joining me at the table. It makes the solitaire more fun. I don't necessarily enjoy playing solitaire in a quiet room, or if I did, I'd have like football or some TV show going on, and then I more often than not get sucked into the TV show and then end up never playing the game. So it's interesting, but it also explains why I get rules wrong, because I start watching TV. It always gets me. Don't ever turn on Netflix while you're trying to read rules. Okay. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. Should I just do another one? Yeah, let's just do another one. There's no need to keep this at 40 minutes. Okay. So it's Hero's turn again. We have one guy left. He's as good as toast. We're going to go into the next room, and that's it. So how are we going to kill this guy? What are we going to do? All that jazz. Looking at the dice, I think we're going to send Huey to the next room, and he's not going to quite make it. If we truly want to go into that green room, we would have to go a little bit out of our way. I think we're actually going to go to the yellow room. There's plenty of rooms in this game board. There's no need for me to be super efficient. So we're going to go into the yellow room, which is a very odd room. So see how it like sort of makes a little lightning bolt? So the yellow room goes like this, with the spawn point is here, and then the feature for that room is way over here. So when we go into this room, it's going to be, quite a long haul to get to them. But I think I want to do it anyways. So we're going to have Huey do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to declare a thumb war. So let's get out the feature. Oh, this is a good one. It's an alchemy desk. The alchemy desk, any hero adjacent to it heals a damage. And if you don't have a healer with you, this is a really nice feature to get. And then same deal, like if you do a search using the magic there, every supply that you would gain during the test, you also heal damage with that supply. So it's a real nice place to heal until you can't search there anymore. Anyways, it's a good option. Alright, so we did that. We revealed the room. Oh, we got to draw the quest card, which is going to be attach it, but there's always something else. Then each hero who does not control a clue card may move up to 3 spaces. Well, that's good, but the problem is Ulrich's the only one, but moving Ulrich is a big deal, so we're going to go ahead and do that. He'll go 1, 2, 3, and he'll get closer to the room. Everybody else has a clue card, unfortunately. Okay, so then after that, we're drawing 4 of these. So Willow, Rowan, Ulrich, and I need to reshuffle the Raglander deck. Raglander deck never runs out, by the way. We just burn through the whole deck, so all you do is reshuffle and keep using it. The quest deck, I talked about this before, but when it runs out, and I'm just chatting because I'm shuffling, when it runs out, it runs out. Same with the feature deck, and I'm pretty sure that the quest deck has exactly as many cards as the feature deck. The Gert deck, when it runs out, Gert spawns, and if Gert were to be killed, then lurkers would spawn. Or I'm pretty sure that's what would happen. Anyways, here's the fourth one. Okay, Willow gets a trap. And in this case, the trap's further away than anything else. Just trying to put one of these things on the bottom. Oh, I forgot to grab the feature. Let me grab the feature. The game board does look nice when these features start to come out and fill up the board. The miniatures are very good in this game. I think they would be even more awesome if I were ever so inclined to actually paint something, which is never going to happen. But I used to pay somebody to paint, but then people started to charge a ridiculous amount, like $60 for any size miniature, and I was like, holy cow, it's a little too rich for my blood. I mean, $60, I can buy a board game for that much. And to be quite honest, I know the person got mad at me and said that his time was worth every penny. Well, designing a board game takes a long time, and that sells for $60. But I understand you can sell more than one board game, not more than one painting. But anyways, more power to them. Free country. Okay, next one is another curious odor. And that goes in front of Ulrich. And then Hightower is getting a burner. Okay, so burner for Hightower, that would be blue. So we only got one enemy and several curious odors. So the curious odors are just something you have to burn through, but that does mean it's going to slow down our ability to move. Okay, so what do we do now? We got these guys here. This one will be able to get all the way around and attack. Don't think it won't. His movement is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he has a range of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he has the whole room covered. This guy here is just an annoying thing we got to figure out how to take out along the way. And he needs 3 more hits. The other thing we forgot to do is he has 2 stench markers on him. So he would have caused everybody to do an orange check. So let's start with Willow. There's 1, 2, pass. Rowan only has a 1. He rolled that. And I'm just going to take 2 damage and get a token, a focus for Rowan. Huey has 2. It was these 2. Ulrich has 2. It was those 2. And Hightower has 2, which is those 2. Boy, I roll consistent tonight. Okay, so now that we're done with all that, let's kill this guy. Okay, way in the back here, Hightower and Willow are behind that cage. So we have 3 characters in the back, and I think I want to start with those and just move towards the room and then kill this thing along the way. And I want to look at anything that causes damage to an enemy within range. Like Willow's slingshot has the ability to do damage within range, and it's got a range of 5. So let's activate Willow, for example. And here you could see she needs that symbol, but we're just going to use one of her melody tokens. She has 1,000,000. Okay, and that's going to just do 1 damage to the guy. So it's at 4 out of 6 now, without her even taking an action. And then I think she's going to use her Inspiring Chorus. So you can see here, she chooses a hero within range. That hero may move up to 3 spaces and gain a melody token. And then each hero within range gains an armor token. And it's a range of 3. So she's going to choose herself to move 1, 2, 3. Okay? She has to go around the cage one way or the other. By going around this way, she's in range of several people. She's going to give herself a melody token. And then she's going to use one of these lightning rings to get another one. But that gives every hero within range 1 armor, which is everybody but your Ulrich. So she gets 1. Rowan and Hightower. Okay, that was 1 action. Then for another action, she's going to play it again on herself. And she's going to go 1, 2, 3. And this time, give herself another melody. And she's going to do the lightning ring again. And she's going to give out armor tokens to herself and to Ulrich. Ulrich gets 1 now. Okay, she still has 1 action left. And so she can... Let me think about this. Couple of things. I forgot to draw cards with every single character last round, so I'm going to give her a card. I'm going to give Rowan a card. I'm going to give Ulrich a card. They're all getting new stuff too that you've never seen before. Yep. Okay. Everybody got new stuff. Alright, so what did she get? She got a feat that you've actually seen before, where every person with a melody token heals 1 damage, and then every enemy that has 1 takes a damage. I'm not going to play that one. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to attack with her slingshot. It's a green attack on that red enemy. So let's go ahead and do it. She rolls 2 dice for this. And there's a crit. And there's a hit. So she did 1, 2 hits. She could spend a token for 3rd, which would kill it. And she'll do that. So this guy's dead, and the bard was able to finish him off. And we get a supply for that. Alright, that was her 3 actions. The last thing she could do is use the water drop to give somebody 2 focus. And she will. She's going to give it to herself. She's been all about the selfishness. Done. And lest we forget, I need to draw another card for her. Alright, so she didn't quite make it out of the room. Okay, everybody else is basically going to just be running. I'm going to move Hightower next, because he has that Star of Elune, and if I want him to help out with a test, he needs to be within range, which is 4. So him being in the back of the room there isn't going to help. So, unless somebody has something that can help him move, and I don't think they do, we're going to spend 3 actions to move 9 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's his whole turn. Can I use, I can use a lightning ring. Each character within range, and the range would be 4, heals 1 damage. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll spend the lightning ring. Everybody heals a damage, and that's except for Rowan, who's too far away. And Rowan was the one that needed it the most. Well, that was poor planning on my part. Charlie should have moved Rowan first. The Trapper's Rope, I can use the diamond to automatically move 3 spaces. I will do that. Get another diamond. That's good. 1, 2, 3. He has Curious Odor, so it might be nice to get rid of the Curious Odor. It's a magic task with 1 armor, and he needs 3 successes. Yeah, this is the perfect time to use the Star of Elune. No, it's not. He's not in range. Dang it. Alright, so let's use... trying to figure out if there's anything... that'll help him move. There is, but I'm not too thrilled about it. Okay, we're going to use 1 action to move. And unfortunately I can only move 2 spaces because I got to get through here. But I am in range now of what's his name? Hightower. We're going to try to get rid of the Curious Odor. So let's get this up on the board to remind you. It's got an armor of 1, and we need to get 3. He only has 2 magic, and I'm probably going to use the Star of Elune to help this. So there's a crit. So he got 2. Notice how I'm learning my lesson and I'm not doing the Star of Elune yet. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. Now remember, it has an armor, so he could spend a focus for the 4th. Yeah, he'll do that, and he didn't even need the Star of Elune. Curious Odor is gone. Okay, that was an action, and he has 1 more action left, so he'll do another move, and go 1, 2, 3. Next we go to Hightower. I'm sorry, Ulrich. He's going to try to get rid of his Curious Odor as well. Take a bath, you fool. His dice is also just 2. And there's 2 successes with a possible 3rd, which he will spend a token for. So he needs... well, no. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to use the Illuminary Pendant. No, I'm going to use the Star of Elune. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Star of Elune. There we go. So now we got a crit added. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and then he just needs 1 more. And there it is. So he even gets a token out of the deal. So we got rid of the Curious Odor in 1 go. Okay. That was 1 of his 3 actions. So the next one is, we might as well just try to move. Oh, so what were the new cards, you might be wondering? Rowan got just a bury, where he can move figures. And then he can deal damage to every enemy adjacent to a hero, which is really good. I'm waiting for the right moment to try that one. We have Stalwart Commander. Every hero may discard an inspiration to gain a focus and armor. And then, of course, each hero gains an inspiration. So let's do action number 2 to move. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to move again. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I actually want him to go after Rowan. That's not good. I guess I'm taking the damage. 1, 2, 3. And then let's see if there's anything I can do. I can deal an enemy to damage within range, but range is only 1. I can discard an inspiration to move 2 spaces and do an action. So I will do that. I'm going to use my Light of the Illuminary. Discard an inspiration to move up to 2 spaces, perform an action. Then I can exhaust a fire to gain an inspiration. So I have 4 of them, so I'm going to spend 1 to get 1. And I just have to use up the fire. And I get to do an extra action. This was his ongoing card that he had in front of him. And then this diamond here is going to give him another inspiration. And we are going to use that one of those fires to do a damage. So he's going to move 2 spaces this way. We're going to get to whack-a-mole this guy. So we're going to roll a red die against him. And he has 6 health points and 1 armor. So I basically got to get 7 hits on this guy in order to be able to kill him. So I have the Illuminary Pendant. No, I don't have the Illuminary Pendant. I use that. So, yeah, I'm going to be able to deal 1 damage with the sword because it has a fire exhaust ability. That's it. So I'm just looking at what else I have. I'm going to use the Potion of Might, which gives me +2 dice for my test. So I'm going to get to roll all 5 dice for this. Here's 4. Where's the 5th one? I know I'm not going crazy. Oh, here it is, under the camera. Okay, 5 dice. 1, 2, 3, and 2 symbols. This is a crit. 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4 symbols. Jesus. So I got 3 hits. And you know what? I have 4 tokens. I'm going to use all 4 of them. 4, 5, 6, 7. Didn't I say we needed 7 to kill this guy? We do. So I'm going to do that. And the guy is slaughtered. That was a bizarre roll. I don't think I, in any other circumstance, would have needed that many tokens just to hit with those 5 dice, but that was good. You know what? I'm actually going to take 2 tokens back. 1 token back because I'm not going to spend it, and then the other token because that's what I get for, because I didn't use all the dice. I forgot, our sword does 1 damage afterwards, so that'll be our situation. This here is going to cause us damage at the altar. Actually, marriage causes damage at the altar, but that will cause damage at this altar. Or I can't think of any way to use it, so it is what it is. We'll deal with it. Alright, this guy's dead. There is a trap that's still left, but it won't be as deadly because it puts stench tokens on enemies, and there's no enemies. So that'll be interesting. Okay, we ended that. We then have to do with the trap. We're going through the threat phase. And so you can see here, each minion threat card gains 1 threat token. There is no minion threat token. Oh no. Each hero with no threat card draws a threat card. Oh my gosh. Everybody's drawing one. Oh, that trap sucks. I told you the traps aren't good. Alright, why didn't I remember that? 1, 2, 3. All 4 heroes get 1. Willow gets a blooder. Here's the good news. They're not getting the threat tokens on them. We just get a whole bunch of bad guys. So, a blooder for Willow. Stupid trap. Stupid game. Then, another blooder for Rowan. Okay, these are the guys with the 2 armor that we always try to get cute with because trying to hit them head on is not very easy. And they're not disappointing so far. Ulrich gets a trap. So we're going to have ourselves a fun time with the traps. That goes there. And Hightower is going to get a burner. Okay. So in essence, by killing that guy at the end, I mean, it doesn't prevent everybody else from drawing a new one, but I basically, everybody got I ended up drawing 4 cards instead of 3. So I didn't plan that very well. Oh man. I even thought that, okay, we have nothing but the trap. That's going to be good. Oh, famous last words. Okay. Then we do the Gert check. Remember, that's the resist 3 blue. So Willow, that's a crit. 1, 2, spend 1 to get 1. Yep, that's 3. And then Rowan, 3. Ulrich is going to take a damage. Remember, this is a resist, so armor doesn't work. And then Hightower is 2. And then 3, and he'll get a token. He doesn't get a token. He has 5. Alright, so that's done, and then we go to the Gert card. Each character must either discard 1 armor or resist 4 purple. Ooh. Huey does not have a good purple. Everybody else is 2, and Willow is 3. So, can we spend an armor? Willow can spend an armor, but she has a 3 skill, so she's not going to spend it. There's 1, 2, 3, and she can spend a token for 4. Yeah. So, she passed that, no problem. Alright, now we get to Rowan. He'll just spend the armor. Huey will spend the armor. Everybody else will just spend an armor. Because the 4 is sort of hard to get when you're only rolling 2 dice. Gotta get a bit lucky there. That's a tough check, that one. Even the girl with the 3 had a hard time with it. Okay, back to the quest thing. Willow is going to do a resist 3 magic. She has the 2 tokens for her 2 clues, but she wants to hold on to those. So we're going to do the resist 3 magic. Oh my gosh, what a horrible roll that was. She takes 2 damage. She takes 3 damage. She only has 10 total hit points, so that was a big hit on her. Alright, Rowan, not learning any lessons from her, is going to try the same, and he actually did very well. He can spend 1 to get 1, and then Hightower has no problem spending 1. He's been holding on to 5 focus tokens for eons now. Okay, then we go down the line. Nobody's next to any of the features, but the altar does trigger because of this. Alright, so what does the altar say? It says, each hero with no focus suffers 1 damage. Everybody has a focus. So that's one of the reasons why Willow took the damage. Each enemy suffers 1 damage. We thought this was going to be worthless because we killed all the enemies, but now it's beautiful. So there's 3 enemies on the board, so we're going to just issue 1 damage to all 3. 1, 2, and 3. And 2 of them had 2 armored, so that was really good. Okay, so we're at 1 hour and 9, and we actually did 2 full rounds. We're very close to being done. I really want to show you what happens between the campaign. To play a full campaign, this is quite a... I mean, I'm going to go through 60 videos. I'm down for it. The problem I'm having now is, like, I got other games I want to get to the table. And I made a promise, like, a long time ago that I was going to do combat. I still haven't done it because the rulebook just upsets me, but I've seen enough revisions to it now that I think I'm going to try it again. But anyways, And then also, this game is a mentally taxing game to solitaire. It's so much easier when you have other players, and one person's managing this deck and another person's managing that. Everybody has their role, and it's real easy for them to remember what to do. But anyways, thanks for watching. Stay awesome and stay healthy and safe.